The year was 3024, and the air crackled with the remnants of chaos. On the once vibrant blue planet of Earth, the last echoes of humanity's struggle reverberated through the charred remains of cities that had once been bustling metropolises. Towering alien ships blotted out the sun, casting dark shadows over the landscape as they unleashed torrents of destructive fire upon the surface. Amidst the chaos, desperate cries of the remaining humans pierced the air, mingling with the thunder of explosions and the whir of advanced weaponry. Commander Callan Varys stood atop a crumbling skyscraper, watching the invasion unfold with a heavy heart. His eyes, a piercing blue that reflected the fire around him, were filled with a mix of anger and sorrow. Below him, the remnants of the human resistance fought valiantly against their alien oppressors, but the odds were insurmountable. He gripped the hilt of his energy blade tightly, the weapon warm in his hand as he prepared to join the fight. "Commander, we have to retreat," shouted a voice behind him. It was Lieutenant Mira Solis ***, his trusted second-in-command, her expression one of urgency. "We're outnumbered. We can't hold them off much longer." Callan turned, his jaw set in determination. "If we retreat now, all hope for humanity is lost. We can't let them take our home without a fight." As they prepared to make their final stand, the ground shook violently. A massive explosion rocked the area, sending debris flying. The enemy's ground forces, a mix of reptilian warriors and mechanized drones, advanced relentlessly, their technology far superior to anything humanity had managed to develop. "Commander," Mira shouted again, her voice strained, "we need to regroup." But Callan was resolute. He raised his energy blade, igniting its blue glow. "For Earth," he bellowed, rallying the remaining fighters. The phrase became a battle cry as they charged into the fray, fueled by the spirit of a civilization fighting for survival. As the battle raged on, humanity's bravery shone through, but it was not enough. One by one, the resistance fell, and soon the only ones left standing were Callan, Mira, and a handful of others. They found themselves backed against a wall, surrounded by the remnants of a devastated city, their lives hanging by a thread. "We have to go," Mira yelled, her voice laced with desperation, as she deflected an alien attack. "There's nothing left for us here." Callan, breathless and bruised, felt the weight of generations upon him. "We can't just abandon our home. This is where we were born. This is who we are." But even as he spoke, the realization sank in. They were losing. The aliens advanced, their weapons primed for the final strike. Just as despair threatened to take hold, an explosion rocked the ground near them, causing a momentary distraction. Callan seized the opportunity. "Follow me," he shouted, leading the remnants of humanity toward an ancient underground facility rumored to hold the last vestiges of human technology. As they descended into the facility, the darkened corridors echoed with the sound of their footsteps. The air was stale and thick with dust, remnants of a world long forgotten. They stumbled upon a control room filled with dormant technology and long-dead systems. Callan's heart raced as he activated a flickering console. "This could be our salvation," he whispered, scanning the screens for any useful data. The walls were lined with holographic displays showcasing humanity's most advanced projects. Amidst the screens was a message that had been hidden for centuries, a beacon of hope in their darkest hour. ***, to all remaining humans, our legacy must not die. We will rise again. ***. But as the message played, alarms blared and red lights illuminated the room. The aliens had followed them. "Go. I'll hold them off," Callan shouted, knowing this might be his final act. "Commander, no," Mira pleaded, but he pushed her toward the exit. "You must survive. You must carry on our legacy." With a heavy heart, Mira led the others to safety as Callan prepared to make his last stand. The scene blurred as he charged into the fray, fighting to the end, determined to ensure that humanity would not be forgotten. Hashtag, 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 asterisk, asterisk. 3,000 years later, asterisk, asterisk. Time passed, and the echoes of that day faded into history. On the distant planet of asterisk, asterisk, New Earth, asterisk, asterisk, a new generation of humans emerged, their lineage carrying the memories of their ancestors. They had survived, thrived, and evolved, far from the ashes of their past. Commander Callan Varys's blood ran through their veins, his spirit guiding them as they prepared for the day they would rise again. In a hidden chamber, the descendants gathered, preparing to uncover their past and reclaim their future. The galaxy was on the brink of change, and the time for vengeance was near. The stars awaited their return. In the heart of New Earth, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as the Council of Elders convened. Holographic displays flickered to life, illuminating the faces of the leaders who had guided humanity through centuries of survival. Commander Callan Varys's portrait hung prominently in the chamber, a reminder of the strength and resilience that had defined their lineage. Today, we honor the legacy of our ancestors, began asterisk, asterisk, Elder Mira Solis asterisk, asterisk, her voice steady as she looked around the room. Though time had weathered her appearance, her fierce spirit remained unchanged. We stand on the shoulders of giants who fought valiantly for our freedom, but we must confront the growing threat of the Galactic Alliance, which seeks to expand its reach into our territory. A holographic projection of the galaxy appeared, showcasing the vast territory of the Alliance, marked by red and gold lines. The threat felt tangible, a reminder of the dark history they had fought to escape. We've received reports of increased patrols near our borders, spoke asterisk, asterisk, Elder Eric asterisk, asterisk, a veteran strategist. If we don't act now, we risk losing everything we've rebuilt. We need to show the galaxy that humanity is still a force to be reckoned with. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber, but Callan, who stood among them as an honorary member of the council, felt a stirring in his heart. He could no longer remain silent. I agree with Elder Eric, Callan interjected, his voice filled with urgency. We cannot wait for them to come to us. It's time to confront the ghosts of our past. We must not only protect our territory, but reclaim our home. The room fell silent, eyes turning toward him. Callan took a deep breath, channeling the strength of his ancestors. We have the technology to build a ship capable of interstellar travel. The Resurgence. With it, we can strike first and remind the galaxy of our existence. Elder Mira leaned forward, her expression a mix of hope and skepticism. A ship like that would require immense resources and manpower. Are we ready for such a venture? Callan's gaze sharpened. We are ready. We owe it to our ancestors, to everyone who fought and died to protect Earth. We have hidden long enough. It's time to rise. The council debated long into the night, but Callan's conviction was infectious. By dawn, they'd reached a unanimous decision. They would construct the Resurgence and prepare for the journey back to the heart of the Galactic Alliance. In the days that followed, the atmosphere on New Earth transformed. Engineers and builders worked tirelessly, resurrecting forgotten technologies, while new recruits trained under Callan's guidance. He emphasized not just combat training, but also strategy and cooperation among the diverse backgrounds that made up their colony. Humans were no longer solitary warriors. They were a united front. As construction progressed, Callan gathered a diverse crew. Asterisk, asterisk, Lieutenant Mira Solis asterisk, asterisk, now a seasoned warrior, was at his side, embodying the spirit of determination. Alongside them was asterisk, asterisk, Rax asterisk, asterisk, a skilled pilot of alien descent who had escaped the clutches of the Galactic Alliance, and asterisk, asterisk, Ilara asterisk, asterisk, a brilliant engineer with a knack for advanced weaponry. Together, they forged a formidable team, each member driven by their own personal stakes in the coming confrontation. One night, as they reviewed the blueprints for the Resurgence, Callan turned to his crew. This ship will be more than just a vessel. It will be a symbol of our return. will not only seek vengeance but also show the galaxy that humanity stands united against oppression. Their spirits ignited by Callan's words, the crew embraced the vision, working late into the night, filled with purpose. Each time they activated a system, they felt the echoes of their ancestors guiding them. The ship's hull began to take shape, sleek and formidable, a testament to their ingenuity and resilience. On the eve of the Resurgence's launch, Callan stood before the ship, its metallic surface glimmering under the stars. A sense of gravity settled over him, the weight of history heavy in the air. Tomorrow, we will venture into the unknown. We will show the galaxy who we are, and we will reclaim our home. As dawn broke, the crew gathered for a ceremonial launch. Elder Mira stood before them, her voice resonating with pride. We embark on this journey not just to avenge our past, but to create a future where humanity thrives. Let us honor those who came before us and pave the way for those yet to come. With hearts full of determination, they boarded the Resurgence, sealing their fate. As the engines roared to life, Callan felt the thrill of anticipation coursing through him. They were not just a remnant of a forgotten past. They were the embodiment of humanity's will to survive and thrive. The stars awaited them, and with a final glance at their home, they launched into the cosmos, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The engines of the Resurgence hummed with power as Callan Varys stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the vast expanse of stars beyond the viewport. It was a beautiful sight, the infinite cosmos filled with possibilities and dangers alike. He felt a thrill coursing through him, a mix of anticipation and anxiety, as he prepared to guide his crew into the unknown. "Status report, Rax," Callan called out, his voice steady despite the churning emotions within him. "Engines are functioning at full capacity, Commander," Rax replied, his fingers dancing across the control console. The half-human, half-alien pilot was a master at navigating the intricacies of starship technology. "We're ready to jump into hyperspace at your command." Mira stood beside Callan, her presence a calming force. "We have the coordinates for the Galactic Alliance's outpost. Let's remind them that humanity is still here." Callan nodded, glancing at the crew assembled around him, each face a reflection of determination and courage. "Prepare for jump on my mark. Once we enter their territory, we must move quickly. They won't be expecting us." With a final look at the stars, Callan took a deep breath. "All right, let's show them what we're made of. Engage." The stars blurred into streaks of light as the Resurgence surged forward, entering hyperspace. The journey felt surreal, a moment suspended in time, where the weight of their mission pressed down on them like the gravity of a collapsing star. Callan's mind drifted back to the stories of his ancestors, to the resilience that had propelled humanity through countless trials. They were the foundation upon which he stood, and he wouldn't let them down. As the ship emerged from hyperspace, the sight before them sent a ripple of tension through the crew. The Galactic Alliance's outpost loomed large, a sprawling fortress of metal and energy, pulsating with activity. Ships of various designs flitted about, patrolling the perimeter like sentinels guarding a treasure. "Rax, can we get a read on their defenses?" Callan asked, his heart pounding. "On it," Rax replied, his brow furrowing in concentration. They'd got a heavy shield, and at least 2 battalions of drones on standby. If we engage directly, we'll be outmatched. Callan's mind raced, assessing their options. "We need to be clever. Rax, can you pilot us through the asteroid field nearby? We can use it as cover to get closer." "Sure thing, Commander," Rax said, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "I'll get us through." "Everyone, prepare for evasive maneuvers," Callan ordered, rallying his crew. "Mira, gather the weapons teams. We'll need to make this strike count." As Rax expertly navigated through the treacherous asteroid field, the ship rocked slightly with each jolt. Callan felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. It was dangerous, but it was also exhilarating. The crew worked in unison, each member falling into their roles with practiced precision. "Steady, steady," Rax murmured, guiding the ship between the floating rocks. They could see the outpost growing closer, the pulsing lights of its defenses flickering like a heartbeat. "We're in position," Rax said, grinning as he maneuvered the ship behind a particularly large asteroid. "Let's make our presence known." "On my mark," Kalen called out. 3, 2, 1, fire. The ship erupted with energy as blasters discharged, streaking towards the unsuspecting outpost. Explosions lit up the darkness, and alarms blared in response. The element of surprise was on their side. "We're being detected," shouted Mira, her voice sharp with urgency. "They're mobilizing." "Rax, take us into the heart of the chaos," Callan commanded, adrenaline fueling his determination. "We need to disable their main reactor." Rax grinned, his fingers dancing over the controls. "I'm already on it." The ship dove into the fray, dodging incoming fire while returning shots with deadly accuracy. The crew worked as a well-oiled machine, blurring the lines between instinct and training. As they surged deeper into the outpost, Kalen felt a sense of purpose strengthen within him. This was more than revenge. It was about reclaiming their identity, about proving that humanity would not be easily extinguished. "Brace for impact," Rax yelled as they narrowly avoided a collision with a drone. Kalen steeled himself, focusing on the mission ahead. "Prepare for boarding." "Mira, you're with me. We're taking the reactor room." "On it," Mira replied, her eyes fierce with determination. As they prepared to breach the outpost, Kalen couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. They were not just here to avenge their past, they were here to reclaim their future. With a deep breath, he activated the ship's docking sequence, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them inside the enemy stronghold. The battle had only just begun. The metallic clang of the docking clamps echoed in the tight corridor of ****, the resurgence ****, as the ship secured itself to the Galactic Alliance's outpost. Callan Varys and Mira Solis exchanged determined glances, adrenaline surging through their veins. "Ready?" Callan asked, gripping the hilt of his energy blade tightly. "Always," Mira replied, her voice steady despite the tension. "Let's remind them why they feared humanity." With that, they activated the airlock, the hiss of the doors sliding open revealing a dimly lit corridor filled with blinking red lights and the distant sound of alarms blaring. The scent of metal and burnt circuitry hung in the air, a stark reminder of the chaos they had unleashed. "Stay sharp," Callan commanded as they stepped into the corridor, weapons at the ready. They moved in sync, each footfall calculated and deliberate, every sense heightened. The flickering lights illuminated the walls adorned with the insignia of the Galactic Alliance, a constant reminder of the force that had decimated their home and sought to eradicate their existence. Kalen felt a surge of anger, but he channeled it into focus. As they ventured deeper, the corridor opened up into a large control room, screens displaying tactical data and surveillance feeds from around the outpost. A group of alien soldiers stood frozen, shock evident on their faces as they realized the intruders before them. "Contact," one of the soldiers shouted, reaching for his weapon. "Cover," Kalen shouted, lunging forward. The energy blade hummed to life, illuminating the room as he charged at the nearest soldier, delivering a swift and decisive strike. Mira followed suit, unleashing a barrage of shots from her blaster, expertly taking down the remaining soldiers. Within moments, silence enveloped the room, the only sound being the low hum of the control systems and the distant wails of alarms echoing through the fortress. "Clear," Kalen called out, panting slightly. "Rax, how's it looking out there?" "Fighting's fierce, but under control," Rax replied through the comms. "We're holding them off, but they know we're here. You need to disable that reactor fast." "Right." Kalen turned to the control panels, scanning for the reactor's location. A blinking red dot indicated the core, not far from their current position. "Mira, let's move," he urged, taking point as they pressed on through the outpost's corridors. They encountered more resistance, but the element of surprise was still on their side. Each encounter only fueled Callan's determination to reclaim their legacy. As they navigated the maze of halls, they arrived at a reinforced door marked with glowing runes that pulsed ominously. The reactor lay beyond. "Step back," Callan ordered. He activated the cutting tool strapped to his belt, a bright blue beam slicing through the door's reinforced surface. Sparks flew as the metal hissed, and soon enough, the door fell away with a heavy thud. Inside, the reactor room was a chaotic mix of energy and machinery. The reactor core, a swirling mass of iridescent energy, pulsed with raw power at the center of the room. Monitors lined the walls, displaying data that flashed with alarming urgency. "Callan, we need to destabilize the core," Mira shouted, scanning the room for controls. "But we have to be careful. If we set it off too early, we'll take the ship down with us." Callan nodded, his focus unwavering. "Let's find a way to overload it without being caught in the blast." As they moved toward the core, the alarms intensified, and the door behind them sealed shut with a hiss. The sound of heavy footsteps approached, echoing ominously in the confined space. "Rax, we need backup," Callan barked into the comms. "We're pinned inside the reactor room." "On my way," Rax replied, his voice strained. "Hang tight." "Quick, find the control panel," Callan urged, scanning the room for anything they could use. Mira rushed toward a series of glowing buttons, desperately trying to assess their functions as the footsteps drew closer. "Got it," she exclaimed, her fingers flying over the controls. "If I can just reroute the energy flow." Before she could finish, the door exploded open, revealing a squad of alien soldiers armed and ready for combat. "Get down," Callan shouted, leaping into action. He engaged the nearest soldier, his energy blade clashing against the enemy's weapon with a bright spark. Mira continued her work at the control panel, glancing up to cover him as best as she could. "Almost there," she called, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding her. Callan fought fiercely, using all the training and strength he had cultivated over the years. Each strike he delivered was a reminder of the countless lives lost, the home they had once cherished. "Now," Mira shouted, just as she activated a series of switches. The reactor began to hum ominously, the swirling energy within it intensifying. "Fall back," Callan shouted, retreating toward the door. He knew they didn't have long before the core reached critical mass. With Mira beside him, they dashed toward the exit just as the energy within the reactor erupted, sending a shockwave through the room. Callan turned, witnessing the blinding light engulfing the reactor and flooding the corridor behind them with heat and chaos. "Go! Go!" he yelled, propelling them forward just as the blast wave erupted behind them, throwing them to the ground. The roar of destruction filled their ears as they scrambled away, the reality of what they had just done sinking in. They had struck a blow against their oppressors, but at what cost? Callan pulled Mira to her feet, urgency flooding his veins. "We need to regroup with Rax and the others. This fight is far from over." With renewed determination, they pushed through the wreckage of the outpost, ready to face whatever awaited them. The battle had only just begun, and humanity was prepared to reclaim their destiny. Smoke and debris filled the air as Callan and Mira emerged from the reactor room, the distant rumble of explosions echoing through the corridors of the Galactic Alliance outpost. The chaos they had unleashed was only beginning, and the once bustling fortress now trembled under the weight of their rebellion. "Rax, come in," Callan shouted into his comms, urgency threading through his voice as they navigated through the wreckage. "What's your status?" "Still holding them off, but they're regrouping fast," Rax replied, his voice strained. "We've taken down several ships, but they're bringing in reinforcements. You need to get to the hangar and take control before they overwhelm us." "Understood," Callan said, determination surging within him. He looked at Mira, her expression fierce and resolute. "Let's move. We can't let them escape." They pushed forward, weaving through hallways that felt both foreign and familiar, adrenaline fueling their every step. The sound of distant gunfire and shouts of battle urged them onward, a reminder that the tide could turn at any moment. "Do you think we did enough damage to the reactor?" Mira asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. "What if they managed to stabilize it?" Kalen shook his head, his mind racing. "We've disrupted their operations, and that's what matters. Even if they manage to salvage some parts, they won't be able to launch a counterattack quickly. We need to capitalize on this momentum." As they rounded a corner, they skidded to a halt at the sight of a group of alien soldiers barricaded at the end of the corridor, weapons raised and ready. "Cover me," Kalen shouted, launching himself into action. He charged forward, blade drawn, while Mira fell back, taking cover behind a nearby wall to provide support. Kalen leaped into the fray, his energy blade cutting through the air with lethal precision. He fought with a fluid grace, each strike a calculated dance of power and skill. The soldiers fired back, but he was a whirlwind of motion, dodging their shots and retaliating with deadly accuracy. Mira's blaster rang out, taking down one of the soldiers as she expertly calculated her shots. "Keep pushing, Kalen. We can't let them hold this position." With a final thrust, Kalen disabled the last soldier standing, the enemy collapsing to the ground. Breathing heavily, he glanced back at Mira, a grin breaking through the intensity of the moment. "Let's keep moving," he said, gesturing toward the exit. "The hangar is just ahead." They sprinted down the corridor, urgency propelling them forward. As they neared the hangar doors, the unmistakable sound of gunfire filled the air, mixed with the roar of engines. "Looks like we're just in time," Mira said, peering through a narrow window that offered a view into the hangar. Inside, a chaotic battle raged as Rax and the crew of the Resurgence fought against overwhelming numbers of enemy soldiers, defending the last remaining ships that were still operational. "Rax, we're here," Kalen shouted, rushing through the hangar doors as they swung open. Finally, Rax exclaimed, relief flooding his voice. "We're outnumbered, but we can't let them take this place. We need to secure a ship and get out of here." Without hesitation, Kalen scanned the hangar, identifying a sleek fighter ship towards the back, its engines still intact. "That one. Mira, with me." They charged forward, dodging fire from alien soldiers as they made their way to the ship. Kalen could see Rax covering them, expertly taking down enemies with precise shots. "Get to the ship," Rax yelled, focusing on the advancing soldiers. "I'll hold them off." "No way, we're not leaving you behind," Kalen shouted back, determination flooding his voice. "Just go. I'll catch up," Rax insisted, his resolve unwavering. With a shared glance, Kalen and Mira nodded, knowing they had to trust their friend. They sprinted to the fighter ship, quickly accessing the controls. "Let's get this thing started," Mira shouted, her fingers flying over the console. The engines roared to life, the ship vibrating with power. Kalen jumped into the pilot's seat, quickly scanning the controls. "We need to disable their communications to prevent reinforcements. Can you hack into their systems?" "On it," Mira replied, her focus unyielding. "Just give me a moment." As Kalen maneuvered the ship into position, enemy fire rained down on them, the hangar illuminated with flashes of energy and chaos. Rax fought valiantly, taking down another wave of soldiers, but Kalen could see that the odds were slipping away. "Mira, hurry," he urged, gripping the controls tightly as he prepared for takeoff. "I'm almost there," she replied, sweat glistening on her brow as she worked frantically to breach the enemy systems. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the hangar, debris flying through the air. Kalen shielded Mira with his body as the shockwave hit, throwing him back against the console. "Are you okay?" Mira asked, panic in her eyes. Yeah, but we need to go. Now. Kalen replied, urgency fueling his words. Got it. She shouted, finally accessing the communications panel. Disabling their systems now. As the screens flickered, Kalen pressed the throttle, sending the ship hurtling forward just as the last waves of enemies rushed into the hangar. The engines roared to life, propelling them through the opening, leaving the chaos behind. Hold on. Kalen yelled, maneuvering the ship deftly to avoid incoming fire from the outpost. Just a little more. There. Mira shouted as she completed the hack, and the hangar's alarms fell silent. They broke free into the open space of the surrounding galaxy, the cold void stretching out before them like a vast ocean. Status report, Kalen asked, breathing heavily as he adjusted their course. Clear for now, Mira replied, her voice steady. But they'll regroup quickly. We need to find a safe place to regroup and assess our next move. Kalen nodded, the reality of what they had accomplished hitting him like a tidal wave. They had struck a significant blow against the Galactic Alliance, but the fight was far from over. Set a course for the nearest planet, he said, determination shining in his eyes. We need to gather our strength and prepare for what's to come. This battle is just the beginning. As they hurtled through space, the weight of their mission loomed heavy. Humanity was rising from the ashes, and they would reclaim their legacy, no matter the cost. Kalen took a deep breath, feeling a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced in a long time. We're here to help you in that fight. We've just escaped a massive outpost, and we have valuable intel about their operations. As they gathered around a central fire, the tension began to ease. Kalen and Mira shared their experiences, detailing the attack on the outpost and the damage they had inflicted on the reactor. The Resistance members listened intently, their expressions shifting from skepticism to hope. Together, we can launch a coordinated strike against the Alliance, one of the Resistance members said, his eyes gleaming with determination. We have the resources. We just need a plan. Kalen felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him. This was the moment he had been waiting for, the chance to turn their pain into purpose. We'll devise a strategy, he said, looking at Mira and then the gathered group. We need to hit them where it hurts, to show them that humanity will not be silenced. As the fire crackled and the stars began to emerge overhead, a sense of unity enveloped the group. Allies were gathering, and together, they would forge a new path. They would not only avenge their fallen home, but also reclaim their place in the universe. Kalen felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Resistance was no longer just a band of survivors. They were the future of humanity, and he was ready to fight for it. As night fell over the encampment on Theros, the glow of the central fire illuminated the faces of the Resistance fighters gathered around Kalen and Mira. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a shared understanding that they were on the brink of something monumental. Plans were being forged, and hope was rekindling in the hearts of those who had long suffered under the yoke of the Galactic Alliance. Kalen stood at the center of the group, the faint crackle of the fire casting flickering shadows across his determined face. We've got one chance to strike back against the Alliance, he began, his voice steady. They're expecting us to be scattered and weak, but we'll use their overconfidence against them. We need to gather intel and launch a coordinated attack on their key supply routes and outposts. Mira chimed in, her eyes gleaming with excitement. We have to create distractions to pull their forces away from critical installations. If we hit them hard and fast, we can disrupt their operations and give ourselves time to build strength. A murmur of agreement rippled through the gathered fighters. The leader of the Resistance, a grizzled veteran named Jurek, stepped forward. I've seen what your team can do. You took down a major outpost. We can replicate that success if we strategize effectively. Exactly, Kalen replied, nodding at Jurek. We need to identify the key supply routes and their weakest points. We can split our forces. Some will create diversions, while others hit the main targets. One of the younger fighters, a woman with fierce green eyes named Ilara, raised her hand. What about their reinforcements? They'll have faster ships on standby, and they won't hesitate to send them after us. Kaylin met her gaze, determination unwavering. We'll have to intercept their communications. If we can disable their ability to call for backup, it will level the playing field. Mira, do you think you can hack into their systems remotely? I can try, Mira said, her mind already racing with possibilities. If we can capture a small ship or find a way to penetrate their networks, I might be able to scramble their signals or create false information to confuse them. Then that's our objective, Kaylin decided. We need to send a small team to gather intel and another to create those distractions. The rest will prepare the main assault. The fighters around the fire began to strategize, sharing their insights and experiences, turning the initial spark of an idea into a detailed plan. Kaylin could see the camaraderie growing, the bonds of shared purpose knitting them closer together. Hours passed as they plotted their course of action, the fire dwindling as ideas flew back and forth. Finally, Jarek cleared his throat, his voice commanding attention. We need to rest before we take action. We have a big day ahead, and every one of you will be needed. Kaylin nodded in agreement. Get some sleep. We'll reconvene at dawn to finalize the details. As the fighters dispersed, Kaylin and Mira lingered by the fire. Do you think they're ready? Mira asked, her brow furrowed with concern. I think they're stronger than they realize, Kaylin replied, his eyes fixed on the fading flames. They've survived long enough under the Alliance's oppression. This is their chance to fight back, and that kind of determination can turn the tide. Mira looked thoughtful, her gaze drifting toward the night sky, where stars twinkled like distant memories. What about us? What's our role in all of this? Kaylin turned to her, a sense of certainty washing over him. We're leading this fight. We'll be the ones to light the spark. We've survived the worst, and now we have the chance to change everything. Together, we're going to show the galaxy that humanity isn't done yet. At dawn, the encampment awoke with renewed vigor. The fighters moved with purpose, preparing for the day ahead. Kaylin watched as Mira worked with a small group to ready their makeshift tech, her fingers deftly assembling devices designed to intercept communications and disrupt the Alliance's operations. As the sun rose, casting a golden hue over the landscape, Kaylin gathered the resistance leaders to finalize the plan. Listen up, everyone, he called, commanding their attention. Today, we take the fight to the Alliance. We'll split into 3 teams, the diversion team, the intel team, and the main assault team. The plans were laid out clearly, each team's objective articulated. Kaylin felt the energy of the group, a palpable excitement mixed with trepidation. They were ready, each person willing to risk everything for the promise of a better future. We may be outnumbered, but we're not outmatched, Kaylin concluded. We have the element of surprise, and we know our enemy's weaknesses. Together, we will fight back, reclaim our legacy, and avenge our fallen home. With a shared cheer, the fighters prepared to execute their mission. Kaylin felt a surge of pride, knowing that they were no longer just survivors. They were warriors standing against tyranny. As the teams set out in their respective directions, Kaylin and Mira exchanged a determined glance, a silent promise that they would face whatever came next together. The time for vengeance was at hand, and the universe was about to witness the resurgence of humanity. The sun blazed high over the rugged terrain of Theros as Kaylin stood at the helm of ***, the resurgence ***, the ship's engines humming with anticipation. Mira sat beside him, her fingers poised over the controls as they awaited the signal from their teams. Tension crackled in the air, thick with the weight of what lay ahead. Everyone's in position, Kaylin asked, glancing at Mira, who nodded, her expression resolute. Teams are ready to execute on my mark, she confirmed. The diversion group is prepped to create chaos at the supply depot, while the intel team is set to breach their communications hub. It's time. Let's do this, Kaylin replied, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. On your count. Mira took a deep breath, her gaze fixed on the tactical display. 3, 2, 1. Now. The ship lurched forward as Callan pushed the throttle, rocketing toward the distant supply depot. As they approached, explosions erupted in the distance, lighting up the sky in a dazzling display of fire and smoke. The diversion team was already making their presence known. "Looks like they've engaged," Mira said, excitement tinged with nervousness. "Time to capitalize on their distraction." Callan maneuvered the ship expertly, deftly avoiding enemy fire as they neared the depot. He could see the chaos unfolding below. The Alliance troops were scrambling, their attention drawn away from the skies. "Prepare to deploy," Callan instructed, readying the drop zone. "We need to get inside and disable their supply lines before they can regroup." With a swift motion, Callan landed the ship in a concealed spot near the depot. The moment the engines powered down, he and Mira donned their gear, weapons at the ready. "Stay close and follow my lead," Callan said as they exited the ship, moving stealthily toward the entrance of the facility. The atmosphere was charged with tension, every sound amplified in the eerie silence. They slipped through shadows, dodging patrolling guards. The distant sounds of battle reverberated through the air, a reminder of the chaos their allies had unleashed. Inside the depot, the halls were filled with crates and machinery, evidence of the Alliance's extensive supply chain. "We need to find their control room," Mira whispered, glancing at the nearest console. "That's where we can cause the most damage." They navigated through the facility, using the elements of surprise and stealth to take down guards silently. Callan's heart raced with each encounter, the thrill of the fight igniting something deep within him. He wasn't just avenging his home, he was reclaiming it. Finally, they reached the control room, a large space buzzing with activity. "This is it," Callan said, adrenaline surging. "Let's take them down." Mira quickly assessed the situation, eyes scanning the room. "We need to shut down their mainframe first. If I can get access to their systems, we can disrupt their entire supply chain." "Go for it," Callan urged, moving to cover her as she slipped inside the control room. Mira focused on the terminal, fingers flying over the keyboard as she hacked into the system. Callan kept watch, heart pounding in rhythm with the frantic beeps of the console. "Almost there," she murmured, her brow furrowing in concentration. Suddenly, an alarm blared, red lights flashing around them. They'd found the diversion team. Callan shouted, instinctively moving to protect Mira. "I'm so close," she replied, sweat beading on her forehead. "Just a little longer." "Hold them off," Callan roared, stepping into the doorway as Alliance soldiers began pouring into the room. He fired his weapon, taking down the first few with deadly accuracy, adrenaline pumping through him. "Mira, now," Callan yelled as more soldiers surged forward. "Got it," she exclaimed, executing a final command. The mainframe whirred, then flashed red as systems began to overload. "They're going to lose their supply links in a matter of minutes." "Let's get out of here," Callan shouted, pulling Mira to her feet. They fought their way back through the facility, the alarms blaring louder than ever. Explosions erupted around them as the diversions began to take effect, chaos consuming the Alliance's stronghold. As they reached the exit, a group of soldiers appeared, blocking their escape. Callan and Mira exchanged a glance, determination shining in their eyes. "Together?" Mira asked, gripping her weapon tightly. "Always," Callan affirmed. With a surge of adrenaline, they charged forward, taking down the soldiers in a flurry of coordinated attacks. They fought as one, the bond forged through shared struggles giving them strength. Finally breaking free, they raced to ***, the Resurgence ***, where the crew was waiting with weapons drawn. Rax was at the helm, shouting orders as the ship's engines powered back up. "Get us out of here," Callan shouted as they boarded, adrenaline still surging. As the ship lifted off, they could see the chaos below, the Alliance scrambling to regain control, their supply lines in disarray. "We did it," Mira breathed, her eyes wide with excitement and relief. "Yes," Kalen said, a grin spreading across his face. "This is just the beginning." As they soared into the sky, the weight of their mission settled upon them. They had struck a significant blow against the Galactic Alliance, and their allies were rallying around the cause. The tide was turning, and they were at the forefront of the rebellion. "Prepare for the next phase," Kalen said, a fierce determination lighting up his gaze. "We'll gather our forces, spread the word of our victory, and plan the next strike. This is our chance to reclaim our home and show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." As the stars twinkled beyond the viewport, Kalen knew that the journey ahead would be perilous, but they would face it together, driven by the memory of a home that deserved to be avenged. Humanity had returned, and they were ready to reclaim their destiny.